Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to go for some of the weirdest stories that we're going to be going through. It's lots of little things been happening that are a little bit weird that we need to have a little bit of a chat about. So let's start off with a Lost Abyss tournament that is happening over in Korea. So, essentially, what's happening is that you go along to the tournament, and it's general kind of tournament. So, you've got juniors, seniors, and masters. It's happening this weekend over in a bunch of places where I'm not going to try and pronounce the name for fairly obvious reasons. And you take a standard legal deck, and you go and have a play, and you see how well you do. Nice and simple. The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, what we actually have here are a bunch of exclusive playmats that can go on and be bought. Oh, no, bought. They ain't being bought, ladies and gentlemen. They are being won. Now, what I find very interesting here is that we've got champion playmats being given out, but there are actually 4 different places where these are being held. And all 4 of them have very slightly different playmats. Only very slightly. But you'll notice that the logo in the top right-hand corner is essentially for the individual shop. And this is what I find so weird about this story. The rest of the prizes are, sleeves and booster boxes. All kind of things we would be expecting. We're fine. What is weird about this is the fact that it is actually the individual card shops that are getting their, logos or names, or call them what you will, printed onto the winner's mat. And that's weird, ladies and gentlemen. That is very, very weird. We've seen stuff like this in the past. We've seen plenty of winners' playmats for regionals, but they're generally not stamped with the regionals. And that's what I find very, very strange about this particular thing. Because what we actually end up with here are a bunch of playmats, which are pretty rare as it is, right? It seems like there are like 4 of them that are actually being given out, which is not a lot. That is not a lot at all. But then the fact that they're actually only being given out kind of 1 per shop, and they're all slightly different, means that if you are a serious collector, the kind of person that is a real completionist, quite frankly, gutted, ladies and gentlemen, quite frankly, gutted. I'd be stunned if anyone could get hold of all 4 of these, because, you'd either have to win all 4 tournaments somehow, or you'd have to convince all 4 winners to sell. It would be a bit of a nightmare. If anybody's wondering about the artwork here, the artwork does make perfect sense. What we've got here is just the artwork for Lost Abyss. Now, of course, that is a little bit different to the Giratina artwork we see on the Lost Origin booster pack, but that's honestly pretty standard. The artwork we have in the West for our booster packs is a little bit different to the images we see on Asian territories, but they tend to be the same amongst themselves. So, the Lost Abyss booster pack in Japan basically looks the same as the Lost Abyss booster pack over in Korea, although obviously accounting for the different languages and characters and all of that. The artwork is the same. So what we've got here is that artwork on a booster pack, little bit weird, love the individual shop things, this is cool. Something else which is unusual but I think probably less exciting is a mini collector's album which is being given out for free in Waterstones in the UK. Now, the images for this come from our lovely friend Poketage. I mentioned them when we talked about the Halloween cards the other day. Poketage actually very recently went and hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is awesome, and I'm super proud of them. Go check out their YouTube channel. They are awesome, and their channel is awesome. But you've got this mini collector's album. And what we have in the mini collector's album is, well, on the back at least, we've got a list of all the cards, which is lovely. And then on the inside, we've got some information about particular Pokemon, like Giratina or Hisuian Zoroark. Nice full pages. And, you've got all the Pokedex information. You've got your flavor text there. It's all rather lovely. And then you've got this. And look, I kind of like these. I've picked these up from Waterstones for previous sets in the past. But actually, what you've basically got are little grayed out images of the cards. And if you actually have a look, you can see it probably... You can see them if you look. There are little horizontal lines, or kind of angled lines, on all four corners of each card. And what you're supposed to do here is basically take the cards and then slide them. All of those essentially give you a place to put each four corners of the card, so you can make it so you can get that Luminion and then slide the four corners under the four flaps, and then you've essentially got the actual Luminion, so it goes from grayed out to the real card. And in that way, it is a way that you can collect the set. Don't do this. Because honestly, it's going to wreck your cards. I don't know how well they fit with sleeves. They're not going to fit brilliantly with sleeves. Do not do this with unsleeved cards. Now, if you want to collect all the commons and uncommons in here, you go ahead. Please, 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 please don't put cards that are worth anything in these. They're really cool. They're a nice little way to store cards, but they're a nice way to store them and it looks cool. They will not protect your cards. That is really important to note. Historically, these have been free over at Waterstones, but Taj has told us that when they went the other day and picked this up, the new manager they had insisted they actually buy something to get one. If you're talking about one booster pack, you'll be absolutely fine. When I went to get these in the past at my local store, they didn't make me buy anything. But again, they might have changed it since then. It doesn't really matter. It's one booster pack. Basically, these are kind of cool, but I have a problem with these in that I love having books with images of all the cards, but these are all grayed out. And I don't want to keep my cards in them because it will wreck your cards. And then we can finish off with a lovely little update. You see, a little while ago, I showed you that there was a Pokemon bag plus magazine that you could order on Amazon Japan. And I ordered this so you don't have to. And then the bag is fine. I showed you the bag before. And the bag's actually, the images we've got showed the bag to scale with stuff in. That's all lovely. And I told you it came with a magazine. And I told you I couldn't tell you anything about the magazine. Well, the good news is now I totally can. It comes with a 16-page magazine. And honestly, the magazine's kind of rubbish, if I'm honest with you. Two of the pages are literally just showing you the bag, which you've already bought, which isn't ideal. There are interviews in here with a celebrity I'm unfamiliar with, unfortunately. So, sorry about that. There are a couple of interesting things in here. It's not completely rubbish. There's a nice little double page which shows you what's going on at the moment. So it shows you about that online art gallery. It shows you about Pokemon Go. It shows you about Lost Abyss, because this came out when Lost Abyss was the most recent set, which is kind of cool, I suppose. That's kind of interesting. Yay for that one. There's a little bit of news, so to speak. There is a nice little kind of how to play section, which is quite nice, and it shows you various things, anatomy of Pikachu cards, things of that nature, which I kind of enjoy. There's also a little section there about stamped cards, and I'm a sucker for stamped cards. And, by far the best bit of the magazine is essentially the page that shows you the history of the game. Now, it's a very potted history because, it's just showing you one tiny box art and a couple of cards for each era. But I do love seeing all the different eras of cards all kind of popped down there the same. I do find it very interesting that they haven't actually shown you any images of Wizards of the Coast cards. There is a booster pack there, but no actual cards. I'm assuming there's probably some licensing issues going on here. So I haven't shown you the whole book. Obviously, I've shown you a few pages. It's all right. When I start learning my Japanese, it's going to be, I'm already learning. When I get better at it, it's going to be nice for a little bit of practice here and there. But it's very much a case of, there's a kind of nice little news section, which is all right. There's that little history section, which is quite cool. And that really is about it. But that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. It was not worth buying for the book. I'm perfectly honest with you. It really was not worth buying for the book at all. But I got the bag, and I got to find out what it was. And if nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, the mystery has been solved, and that's quite lovely. So I promised you some weird news, and I've shown you a collector's album. It doesn't really make a huge amount of sense, doesn't really seem to solve any kind of problem. I've shown you Playmats from Korean tournaments that are literally stamped differently for each individual shop, and I've finally been able to show you what that magazine that comes with the bag is actually about. Which I'm still glad I picked this up, right? Yeah, fine, it's a 16-page book, and I can't read Japanese well enough to really take advantage of it. But you know what? This is a super weird Pokemon collectible, and in like 15, 20 years' time, my mates aren't going to have this, and it's going to be the kind of thing I can bring out when I go to tournaments. People are like, where did that bag come from? And I can go, well, sit down. Let me tell you a story. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, you can tell me some stories in the comment section. So go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games and all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord and chat Pokemon with us, have all kinds of fun. And that's the goal here, quite frankly. That's what we're trying to do. Like the lovely Jolene Orengi, who is one of our newer patrons and is a very lovely person. So thank you, Jolene, for the support and for being a rather lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.